Hey y'all! Happy Friday! Today we are going to look at chapter 3 of the book Crazy Love, which the chapter also happens to be titled Crazy Love. And today we're going to start in Matthew 22, verses 37 and 38. And that reads, "And he said to them, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the great and first commandment." Over time in your Christian walk and maturity, you learn that we love God naturally, and we run to Him frequently and zealously. It's not necessarily something, the love of God is not something that necessarily comes naturally to everyone. It's something you grow into. It's something you gain with time, gain with maturity. The results of learning to love God are intimate prayer and study time in His Word. Just spending time with God like you would spend time with a friend. And our motivation to know God changes from guilt to love. We want to know God because we love God. You think about your friends and you know them because you love them. And that's the same with God. As you grow in your Christian walk and you mature, you find yourself returning to God more frequently and zealously, like I said. And your relationship becomes more intimate. Next I'm going to read in Ephesians chapter 1, verse 18. And it says, "Having the eyes of your hearts enlightened, that you may know what is the hope to which He has called you, what are the riches of His glorious inheritance in the saints." God's being, like we talked about a couple of days ago, He is completely set apart from humanity. Yet He wants us. He chooses us. And in this verse, He even considers us His inheritance, in His inheritance. Wow, that's, how powerful is it to be chosen by a God that could have anything and everything He wants. And He does, because He chooses to have us. Do I have a choice? This is the next section of this chapter, and he sets it up as a student asking a teacher, why would a loving God force me to love Him? And a lot of people ask questions along these lines. This is a very common question. And Chan answers this, and he says, if God is truly the greatest good on this earth, would He be loving us if He didn't draw us toward what was best for us, even if that happens to be Himself? This is a pretty big concept to think about. So, I'm gonna just read that one more time. The question is why would a loving God force me to love Him? So it's basically a question of free will. Why does God want us to love Him? And the answer that He gives is, if God is truly the greatest good on this earth, would He be loving us if He didn't draw us toward what is best for us, even if that happens to be Himself? So what I want to leave you with today are just a couple of questions to think about. And if you want to talk about it, we can. I'm always happy to talk to y'all. So, our love for God always comes out of his love for us. So we love because he first loved us. Do you love this God who is everything? Or do you just love everything he gives you? Do you really know and believe that God loves you? Individually and personally and intimately, and he chose that. He chose you and he chose to know you. And lastly, do you see and know God as Abba Father? Do you know God personally? So I just want to leave you with those questions for today. And reach out to me, talk to me. I love you and I'm praying for you. And I will talk to you tomorrow.